All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and good afternoon on the East Coast. Welcome to our Virtual Discovery Day. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Stephanie Larson, our founder and CEO of Children's Art Classes.
Good morning, good afternoon. I'm so glad that you guys are all here today. I just want to preface, I'm kind of going through the same thing with a nasty cold, so I apologize if I'm not on my game, but I was really excited to have everybody here today. So we're going to power through, and I look forward to hearing from you guys through the presentation as well. Looking at the agenda for today, we'll go through introductions. I want to hear from each one of you, a little bit about you guys. We'll look at the video, which is me walking through our Jacksonville location. So I'm going to point out some key features of our studios and the functionality of why they're designed the way they are. We'll talk about the Children's Art Classes story, our vision, where we came from, where we are now, the opportunity for you as owners, and the curriculum that grows with our students. We're going to talk about the model and the launch of your new business, what the training and marketing and support looks like. And then at the end, we'll, of course, open it up for any questions that you guys might have. But please, like we said, engage along the way. We want to hear from you. I don't want to bore you to tears.
Yeah, we don't consider it being rude to ask a question
No.
midstream, you guys. We're great with that. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Can you see my screen okay, Stephanie?
Yeah, thanks. So on the screen is me and my mother, Barbara. Barbara Gay is the founder of Children's Art Classes. She developed this curriculum back in '97. I'm so grateful that she did. I'm very grateful for Dennis and for Sean. Dennis is the director of franchise development, and Sean is also in franchise development. And these guys are the reason we're able to be opening up and offering this opportunity to more children and to other people for business ownership. So I'm very excited about our team and the direction of this company. Sean, I'm going to give you this slide.
Oh, no, I'm going to tag this one over to Dennis. Dennis, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your track record and success.
Yeah, I mean, what I bring to the table here is, participating in the growth of Children's Art Classes is, a pretty massive franchise background. Been doing it for a long time. Very selective in what brands I take to market. Children's Art Classes is the 10th brand that I was able to help build a franchise system from generally a single unit operating, and I've had a lot of success on mobile service brands. It's been kind of my specialty. But when Children's Art Classes was, I got approached by Stephanie and her mom. It was through WaveMax, which is the nation's largest laundromat chain now, that's based in Jacksonville too, because Mike Roberts, my business partner and founder there, said, his daughter had gone for 8 years through the classes, said, you got to take a look at this. I'm so glad I listened. And, we had challenges in the beginning. We launched right in March of 2020 as a franchise. Hello, COVID. Could not build much traction. It took us a little while, and now it's the hottest brand I have right now. We are absolutely en fuego. We have been discovered. And you're looking at really version 2.0, 3.0 even maybe, with all the technology we brought in, with a lot of the trial in the air. So it's a much more comfortable investment for you to consider today in terms of it. We're out of that startup mode, which is generally the first couple of years when I launch a new brand. And so really exciting times for Children's Art Classes. Glad you're all here. You're never going to feel pressure from us. This either makes sense for you and your family or it doesn't. And that's great. No harm, no foul. We get to learn a little bit about each other, but welcome to Discovery Day today.
Thank you, Dennis. Welcome.
Thanks. And Stephanie, I'll go ahead and tag in. I'll give your voice a little bit of a rest as we do the introductions. And we've got a lot of folks on the phone. That's, as Dennis shared, we're really lighting up. We're seeing a lot of success out there. So really, opportunity for you to introduce yourselves to us and to one another. One of the really neat things that we're seeing go on a lot is as people go through our virtual discovery day, and then they go to training together, and the timing lines up, and then you're launching your businesses together. So the folks on the call might be your future peers. And so, introduce yourself to them as well. So if you wouldn't mind, share your name, where you're based, what excites you about children's art classes, and something fun or interesting about yourself. And so I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to go around the other horn way. Connie, can I put you on the spot to go ahead and kick us off?
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me fine?
Perfectly.
Okay. My name is Connie Jones. I am from Chicago, Illinois, born and raised. I am a HR generalist, 10 years in the HR, a 10-year HR professional. What I love the most about children's art classes is the opportunity. Not necessarily opportunity for me per se, but the opportunity that it provides to communities, that it provides to families, to kids to explore, to be able to just either be introduced to something new or to be able to foster what they already have inside of them in a safe space, in a space where they don't feel crowded out. I love the fact that it's a family business. I love the fact that Stephanie's mother is still hands-on and still very much involved. I think that brings a certain level of comfort. At least it would be for me to put my child somewhere where it is so strongly ingrained and rooted within family and growth and community. I like the strength of it. I guess that's the short way to say it. I love the foundational strength that it provides. Something fun about myself. I don't think we got enough time for that. But no, I mean, I love life. I love kids. I'm enjoying this process. That's the best I could say.
It's awesome. I did have once upon a time on one of our other brands where it's like, yeah, there's nothing really exciting about me, versus you're like, hey, you don't have time for this. So thanks, Connie. How about we'll go back to Liz.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Liz Kozar. I am based out of Solon, Ohio, which is about 20 minutes southeast of Cleveland. Born and raised here as well. And absolutely, it's Cleveland against the world. But I'm very excited to be here. What excites me a lot about CAC is I've always been like the artistic one in my family growing up. Everyone else is all sports based. I don't have that hand-eye coordination. I was all in dance and visual arts, and I was a cheerleader growing up. So I like more of that kind of artistic side of things. So I think the opportunity to actually be in that is what's so exciting to me. But I have two little kiddos of my own, and I'm kind of in this in between where I want to have more time with them. So the scheduling and such of the curriculum and classes was really also enticing to me, time wise, and how I would be spending that. Something interesting about myself, it's kind of my go-to, but I find it interesting is I'm an adopted person. I was 5 days old when I was adopted, and I like to say that maybe the artistic side I get from that side, that family instead of my adopted family. But it's something that I hold really near and dear to my heart, and I love being really open about it. So, yeah.
That's great.
Cool. Thanks,
Liz.
Liz.
Yeah.
Sheila, how about you on deck, please?
Hi, my name is Sheila. I'm going to be based out of Phoenix. What interests me, I have several different reasons for children's art classes, is because one, I want to do something to give back to the community and something that I could help influence kids, because I remember when I was young and how much I like doing crafts and projects and stuff, and getting children the opportunity to express themselves that way. On my side of it, I'm transitioning out. I've been in a franchise for 10 years. They were 15-hour days. I would like to get some more freedom on my side. And I really feel that with children's art classes, that is something that will allow me to do so I could spend more time with my family and enjoying the activities I like. Something fun about myself is I'm very adventurous. I love to travel. I ski, I scuba dive. Any outdoors activity, you've caught me and I'm doing it.
Awesome.
Thanks. Arup.
All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Arup Mazumdar. I'm based in Raleigh, North Carolina. What excites me about CAC is like, so when I first came across CAC, and there are a couple of other things that I was also looking at the same time. And my 9-year-old goes, hey, we got to pursue that art one, right? Because he really loves arts and whatnot. And he's pretty good at art in school, but there's not really opportunities around here to do art outside of school. So he was pretty gung-ho about that, and I still remember that. And so my wife's not here, but me and her are looking into this together. She's a little bit under the weather, Krista. She's not here, so that's why I'm on here alone. Otherwise, she would have been on as well. Of interesting fact, so I'm from Bombay, India. So I support the Indian cricket team and I support Liverpool Football Club. I'm married into a Kansas City family, so I support the Kansas Jayhawks and the Kansas City Chiefs. And thankfully, my son is smart. I see that, Dennis. And I'm extremely lucky that my son loves the teams that I love, so we get a lot of dad and lag time. And I'm enjoying, looking forward to doing this with my family and going on this journey together.
It's great.
My son-in-law is the senior vice president for the 49ers. That's why you got the down zone.
Nice. Let's go on. It's no fun doing the driving. How about Keith? Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. And I'm going to start with the last question first. So something unique about me. I'm a father of 7 and a grandfather of 7 so far. And so that kind of goes into what I'm excited about with children's art classes is I now have 3 adult daughters, and well, all of my children are involved in art in some way, whether it's writing or film or music. And I've got my oldest daughter is a very talented oil painter, and now she's a full-time mom. And so she's gotten away from the art. But I just see this as an exciting opportunity because I see that there's a need for it here in Naples, where I'm from. So that's the first question. I'm based in Naples, Florida. But Liz, I'm originally from the Youngstown, Ohio area, not too far from Solon up there in the great state of Ohio. But I'm excited about the opportunity that this would provide for kind of a family-based business.
That's great.
Thanks. And Jason, I know you're not on camera, but that's okay.
I'm so sorry. I don't think everyone wants to see me sneezing and blowing my nose and coughing on camera, but I appreciate your patience with me. So my name's Jason. My wife and I are both interested in children's art classes. I'm south of Sheila in Tucson, Arizona. I work as a global product marketing manager for a life science company. And we really enjoy the idea of children's art class. We homeschooled all our kids. My wife is very artistic and incorporated art in all of the lessons with our kids as they grew up. And we also have a few artists in our family who work full-time as artists and really enjoy that. And also see a need in our community where they're not really promoting art in local schools. And also we're very involved in homeschool groups where they are constantly looking for activities for children. And I see a lot of opportunity there. I like the idea of autonomy and scalability with this business as well. And also to make it a family business, as my wife and daughter are very interested in getting involved. So I see a lot of benefits to this system and the business. So that's about me right now.
Thanks, Jason.
That's great. And Danielle, I intentionally saved you for last because I just heard that you're going to be coming visiting us in Connecticut to check out Monica and Jay's studio. So
I'm very excited for that. Yes.
Yeah, Monica told me that last night. That's awesome.
Looking forward to it, really looking forward to it. So hi, everybody. My name's Danielle Forrester. I am based in Westchester County, New York, which is about 30 minutes or so outside of New York City. There are a lot of things that excite me and my husband about the children's art classes. So many, but mostly so, and kind of just to summarize, is that it just feels very natural and very organic to us and to our family. We have 3 young girls, they're 5, 3, and 2, and just the ask that I can see, this is something that I would totally put my kids in, right? And this is something that I know all of my friends would put their kids in, and I know that this would just become such a natural fit into our community. Our middle daughter, and I believe Stephanie, when we spoke, I mentioned this to you, our middle daughter has some developmental delays, and she's not the best athlete right now, but I can see it impacting her confidence. And so I think that something like the children's art classes would just be so great for her, because it would be something that's hers and be something that can really make her shine outside of her 2 sisters, right? And so anyway, a ton that I'm excited about for this potential opportunity, and it just feels like a very, very natural fit for myself, my skills, in terms of, you know, being able to add value, and as well as our family and our community. And then something interesting about me is I love to run, and I've run 3 marathons.
Wowza. That's
wow,
amazing.
that's 3 more than I'll do, but I respect that.
Thanks, Danielle.
And I'm going to hand it back over. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. Really love the people that are on this, and the caliber and all the interest. Stephanie, I'll hand it to you to lead the tour.
Yay, it's me leading me. So I think that this is really helpful as far as what we're looking for our space. You know, everyday shopping center with other kid-friendly tenants is extremely important as far as the location. Inside the studio, small waiting room, very few of our parents stick around during their kids' classes. So we only allow about 5 feet deep worth of waiting room space. But nice to have in case you have a tiny hands mom that wants to hang out for the 45 minutes. Inside your studio, this is the main drawing studio space. This particular location is 1,512 square feet. So we, going in, thought this was going to be our main drawing studio, but we're now doing both studios kind of going at the same time. So you'll see that both studios will have a whiteboard, a color wheel, the sets of posters, a drawing board storage. But we lay all of this out for you. We know what functions best for the teachers. We know where to place everything. So once we have a floor plan to look at, we get busy and start designing that layout space for you to include all of the essential elements, like all of the storage for your art supplies. The bins are clear for a reason. Everything is very thought out over the years of having to use the materials and what works best. That's all going to be spelled out for you guys. Paper cabinet there, you can see drawing spools of paper. We've got a working library in the corner, which we also design into your space because this is your resource area for your students. And a lot of photographs are used out of these books as well. That little goofy guy with the antlers, this is just our area for still life. So the Art 1 students do get to work on a still life project for 6 to 7 weeks. So we do have a designated spot where we know your still life is going to be, and a spotlight above just to make sure that we have the proper light there. So this was originally going to be just for clay, but it's now, like I said, is operating and functioning as our second drawing studio. But most of our clay materials and tools are stored in this space. Behind me on the purple wall, drawing racks for wet projects for kids. The still life area, you can see the whiteboard. Everything is basically duplicated to the front studio. I'm sorry, I'm on Sudafed. I know I'm missing stuff. Let's see. Oh, so I'm standing by your paper cutter. This is very important in a functioning studio to have a proper spot for the paper cutter. Your teacher uses it every day for prepping and mounting artwork. A workspace, we have a workbench there that my husband built, but we make sure that you have that proper space because it's necessary. The countertops, you see the drawers, Those are all from IKEA, but we need that extra long countertop space for your teachers so they can prep their projects. The very back of the studio is the workroom. This workroom also functions as kind of a third studio space for us. We have a lot of our advanced kids come back here with the messier projects, plaster pouring, sculpture, things like that we do back in the workroom. Work sink and your kiln are back here. So this is also a very important part of your studio because it's used every day, all day long. Questions about the studio while we're on this part of the presentation? Nope.
What?
Just to say, I love the clear bins because that's like #1 for organization. It's like you need to have those. So
yes, we had really cute bins when we first started. They were all pink and they drove us crazy because you just, even if they were labeled, you just can't get to your stuff fast enough. So all about the clear.
And I also, I know we'll talk about it in site selection, Stephanie, but like with Montessa's studio in Sarasota Springs, key things are we don't have any load-bearing walls, and the build out is pretty quick. And real frankly, if you're willing to put some elbow grease into it, put up some coats of paint, it can also save money on that build out. But how long did it take her to build? I think from start to finish.
I think 11 days was her total time frame. I mean, demo, putting up the walls, drywall, paint. I mean, there's really not a lot to it. My husband and I and my son were very much involved with the building of our beaches studio out in Ponte Vedra. I learned how to frame up a wall. Granted, I didn't want to hang the drywall, so we got a handyman for that part. But there's a lot that you can do with your family for sweat equity into this build, because there's not a lot, like Sean mentioned, it's not a huge construction job to get it set up.
I think Keith had a question too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So you're the studio you showed with the tour is a little over 1,500 square feet. And so Sean and I were talking last night, and based on our demographics here in Naples, it might make sense to start smaller, maybe 1,200 square feet, Sean was suggesting. And so,
Sure.
So maybe like, maybe another question would be the Sarasota location. Did they start off with a bigger space or a smaller space, or what do you give up by going to the smaller space?
Montessa did start with 1,200 square feet. And just to be clear, the 1,200 square foot studio, depending on what the layout is, we can look at trying to achieve that second studio as a second classroom. My studio in Ponte Vedra is 1,200 square feet, and where we put up the wall really limits the size of that second space. It was kind of one of those, oh, we should have done it this way moments, but it is what it is. But even at a studio at 1,200 square feet with one teacher teaching, an 18 to 20 hour a week schedule, I mean, you're still at about 200 kids enrolled into that location. So it's not like you can't have the volume. You're just not going to get to the 400 range because you are limited to just one after school schedule. But it's not a bad idea. I mean, 200 kids is nothing to sneeze at either. That's a nice stream of income as well for a 1,200.
It's called second studio. Yeah. It's called multi-unit second studio.
Right, exactly.
All right, good. That's helpful. Thank you.
Good, great. So our vision, the vision of CAC is close to my heart, and we want to become the premier provider of art education and instruction from little all the way up to 12th grade students throughout the country, and share this program with as many children as possible, because we believe in the benefits that the curriculum can give to these kids. And the why is because it's needed. Art education is so fundamental to development and enhances their academics. That's proven, and it contributes to long-term success in whatever area they decide to do. We believe in raising kids' self-esteem, and this curriculum is designed to give kids that platform where they can achieve something, be recognized, and praised for their efforts. And that's when the real self-esteem is built. You don't get that any other way, I don't believe, without that recognition. So the goals are to educate and enrich the students in the community that we serve. We achieve this now because we have such an amazing team of people that are doing this across the country. And who I work with on the daily with our owners matters to me. We have to share that same cultural understanding of why we're doing this and what it means for the kids. I believe in continually improving this process. Like Dennis might have mentioned, we're at like franchise version 3.0, and I love where we are now. We've made some really important decisions regarding the teachers that are in the studio and what that looks like. And the business model is the part that's tried and true. I love this business. My mom's a very smart woman. From naming the business for what it is, children's art classes, there's no mistaking that. When you drive by, you know what we do. But the model itself is very simple. And I love that. There's very few moving parts and pieces to the actual running of the business, which makes it very easy to do more than one location. So I love the way that's set up, and that piece is proven. This part of our story is just, it amazes me every day to know where this started, which was in our home in Roswell, New Mexico, in our garage, because of the need for more income and my mom using her skill set to do what she knows how to do. And then she outgrew that and was able to retire and just work at her one location in Roswell, New Mexico. And then we decided to open our first location together in Florida when everything was kind of going down the tubes for me personally, as far as my real estate career. My husband was laid off and everything was kind of going to the toilet. So she came out to Florida and we opened our first studio in 2009, which was amazing. I was able to quit doing anything else. And then my sister, we opened her location in 2016. Oh, I skipped that. We outgrew our space really quickly, which is why we require you to start at 1,200 square feet. We were at 900 square feet, so we outgrew that really fast and moved into our second space in 2012. But then, yeah, 2016 opened the second location for my sister, who's still doing her business. 2018 was when my husband and I opened in Ponte Vedra. And then 2020 was, like Dennis mentioned, right when we launched as a franchise, which the growth was slow. And I'm grateful for that because of all the learning that I did along the way and tweaking things to making sure that our owners were successful. So in 2021, we had 8 open, 2022, 13 open. And we have plans to open, what did we say, 25 more coming on board?
Stephanie, there's no way we're going to do 25. We're tracking to do 40 plus. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm still in like
no doubt.
Yeah, it's the upswing is huge, and I just feel like it's such a blessing to be able to work with great people and help them achieve their personal goals and provide something wonderful for their family and the community that they live in. So it's been a wild ride. I'm excited to see what this year brings. We are growing. I love to see CAC spreading over to the West Coast. That's very exciting. I mean, I grew up in New Mexico and went to college in Colorado, so that's just great. And family in Idaho, and I know California soon. So it's very amazing to see this really becoming available to more and more kids as we grow. It's a dream. It's awesome.
And I am the cobbler in his shoes. I need to add a new pinpoint down there in Orlando, as we've got Trace and his family coming on board now. So like literally this morning, everything's signed, and super excited about that.
Yes, it's awesome.
And I sneaked this one in on you.
So yes, I love this so much. This little girl, Anastasia, she started in Tiny Hands with me. That's her with her ladybug when she was 3. She's a junior this year in high school. That's her last year, finished with her her oil painting of that skull down there. We're in the workroom, but I've literally been in her life since she was 3 years old. And this part's just what it's all about for me, is being able to give that to the kids and be part of such a great journey. And no matter, I mean, she'll probably go on, she's going to be applying for colleges now, but she'll be successful no matter where she goes. Her work ethic, everything has been built. She's got great goals, and I love that part of what we do. It's truly something where the kid can come back year after year after year, and you can watch this person grow up in your studio and be a part of that huge part of their life. It's great. I get emotional.
Well, I'm the rude numbers guy, so I also think of over $100 a month recurring revenue for the last 10 years. So
that's a good thing too. It's a win-win. So this program truly is designed to grow with the child as they progress month after month, year after year. And I think the biggest differentiator with us versus maybe other programs is that the parents really do see the results. This is very much a results-driven business. It matters the quality that's going out of your studio. That's your overall, that's your biggest form of marketing. So the parents really are happy with the results. And of course, the kids are thrilled because they're really learning something and they're very proud of what they're doing. And I think that's why we have such a huge retention rate with these kids coming back year after year. This is a part-time business. I don't ever want to blow any smoke. You will treat this like your baby when it's a new studio. You know, you want to be there learning your business, but you can really manage this business in a semi-absentee way when you are in autopilot. I bring up my studio in Ponte Vedra. I'm over an hour away from that location. I'm there. I used to visit more often, but I'm there checking in maybe once every 3 or 4 months because I have a wonderful teacher in place. I give her the support with what she needs with her curriculum. And the management side of this business, again, there's not that many moving parts and pieces. So it really is a part-time business. To start up, you can go all in for around $100,000, which is great for a franchise opportunity. And again, the model is tried and true. We're like 26 or 27 years old. So we've taught thousands and thousands of kids with this curriculum. And now we have this awesome team with Dennis and Sean as our franchise developers that are improving things all the time with the way we operate. So this slide is great. It kind of gives a snapshot as to what to expect as an owner throughout the year, like annually. You'll be making your schedules, and we do this really close together. You'll make your schedule for your fall classes, your summer schedule, and your budgeting really becomes something that you can plan on. There's 2 times a year that you want to spend more on marketing. That's when summer camps and summer workshops are going to kick out. We want everybody to know what we have to offer, so you might up your marketing during that time period. And then, of course, our back to school marketing budget. But other than that, your monthly budget is pretty consistent. We're going to find what's working for you in your market. You don't want to spend money on stuff that's not bringing new students. So kind of dial that in, and you know what to expect and what to spend every month on marketing. Your month of August as an owner, this is really where we focus on open houses and getting ready to open the doors for fall. We never start at the same time that your school starts because the kids are tired and the parents are frazzled. So we do that deliberately. We start like 3 weeks after all the kids are back to school. So we try to utilize August in ways to bring in new students and get more registrations just before you start. So open houses on Saturdays, those happen a lot. You can also be hosting more birthday parties. I look at birthday parties and field trips as marketing opportunities for your business to bring in new people. In the springtime, February is our month typically to get our summer schedule published. We've discovered this year that everybody's doing that a month early. So now that's in January. These summer camp guides go out a little bit earlier. I believe that parents are scheduling like crazy. So we are now on that bandwagon to get it out earlier. So you'll have your summer camp ready to publish in February. And then in March, we create your fall schedule so we can promote that to existing families first in April. So we have all the fall schedules done. And we go to our families that are still taking classes with us and offer them first dibs at registering for fall. And then we put that out to the public. So we're registering from April all the way until September for those fall classes. And it's great to be able to target your current students and help their families get their classes figured out early. The back to school planning is critical. So we really up our marketing during that month of July and August to make sure that we're with the schools and that we can distribute our flyers, whether they're paper or digital. We want to be on board and hit that at the right time to maximize your student enrollment. I'm just looking over, see if I missed anything.
Can I ask a question real quick about
Please.
that?
Yeah,
Is
of
the
course.
schedule that you guys follow adjustable for almost like a year-round schedule, where in Phoenix we start school by the end of July?
Oh, wow. Oh, sure. We will look at where you are. Absolutely, because it's really going to be tweaked to what the kids are doing in your area. So we have adjusted that time frame, Sheila, just depending on what the kids are doing there. So absolutely, that can be adjusted.
I just have one question as well, if that's okay.
Yeah.
In terms of any changes to the schedule year on year, do you see much fluctuation there? Or like, how do you determine, okay, Tiny Hands was great at this slot, but now we're going to put it over here. How do you is it based off of like customer feedback, or how does that look like?
This is those years and years and years of teaching that really benefit you as a new owner. I know what Tiny Hands class times don't work. I know which ones do, and it's really been all of those years of trial and error. So I work with you and we get the class based on what's the best enrollment for that time slot for that age group. And that's how we customize your schedule. So I'm not going to allow you to have like 5 Tiny Hands classes, on the schedule, because A, you only get 6 kids at a time, and B, it's the hardest on your teacher because there's so much prep. They're doing something new every week. So that's where I come in and be like, all right, let's start with this schedule. I know these are awesome time frames for the ages, and I really work with you. So you're not like guessing and going down these rabbit holes.
Great, thank you.
Of course. So continuing on that role of ownership, during the month, we have training videos on the teacher training portal that I think are very important for owners to know as well. No matter what business you would do, you want to know your business. So those training videos are great not only for your teachers, they're going to be watching them, but you want to be able to support your teachers and knowing, what's happening in the studio as well. So watching those training videos, it says 4 hours a month. That might be a little bit more than what it really is, but you could budget that time for just that piece of the training. Meeting with your instructors, this holds your teachers accountable. I think with this business, it's all about expectation. So establishing those habits with your teachers early on and keeping a pulse on what's happening with them so they keep their level of what they're supposed to be doing while they're in the studio up to snuff. We don't want them to get lackadaisical about showing up 20 minutes before they need to teach. Like, it's very much a structured plan, and I know that's why we have been successful, is because those expectations are held. I don't want things to get watered down. So making sure you're meeting with your teachers, I think that's very important as an owner to do that. The payroll, the registrations, so much of that, guys, is really streamlined with the software that we use now. It's nothing like back in the day of cash or check or money orders and collecting on people all month and paper registrations. All of that's gone. So that management piece is great. It really streamlines your business and how much time you have to really spend on any of that. With the way it's set up with the automatic tuitions, and then if somebody's card expires, the software continues to remind that parent to update. So you can watch that shrink down of who still has to pay for the month. That's very helpful. But you want to set aside time, of course, to pay your teachers and pay your bills. That's important. Reporting to me monthly is also just a great habit to establish as an owner as far as what you're doing with your marketing. You never want to miss a month of marketing ever. You know that this is your business. We're established in Jacksonville since 2009, and we've never not marketed our business. So it's important to know what's going on with your marketing and your monthly budget. Workshops, birthday parties, things like that. As an owner, you will be managing that piece. And really, for me, I still do it today. It's making sure your instructor's available and then just communicating that to the parent. And then you can use the software to do all the booking, and all of that's pretty easy. But it's just you staying on top of, okay, we've got a party request. We got to see if the teacher's available to do it. So that's your piece. You're coordinating that. We do monthly owners meetings with all of our CAC owners, which I absolutely love. It's great. We learn from each other. We hear what's going on, what's working in different markets. There's always something to learn during these monthly meetings, and those are required for you to attend. Teacher trainings are once a month as well. I love that piece of what I get to do as a franchisor, because I'm a teacher by trade. So the teacher trainings are fantastic. These are required of your teachers to attend. You don't have to. A lot of our owners are on those calls as well, because, why not? They're learning more about how to handle different situations and classroom management and things like that. So those are once a month, again, required by your teacher, but you're always invited to join those calls. During the week, you can really limit the amount of supplies your teacher needs. I'm very remote from my studio. My teacher has her own card, so she can pick up incidentals. If she's out of paper towel or toilet paper, I don't need to be doing a 2-hour trip to replenish paper towel. So, she's got a set budget on her card that she can use. But you're not ordering supplies all year. You order your supplies in bulk before you start in fall. You have one big art supply order. And then you do another order before you do summer workshops. Based on which workshops you want to do at your studio that summer, you're going to be ordering supplies twice a year, really. Now, if you run out of something like clay, you don't want to buy 10,000 pounds of clay. So you will be replenishing that as needed during the year. But that's a piece where your instructor needs to communicate the need. If they're running low on clay or glaze, or maybe they ran out of jiggle eyes for tiny hands. It's that kind of open line of communication that helps you as an owner make sure that they have the supplies they need. This is really important piece. During your first 4 years in business, you want to commit to being in your studio at least 4 hours a week. You can do this all in one afternoon if you wanted to. I like to develop your schedule where we have all of the levels of the program being taught on one day. So as an owner, you could go in and see Tiny Hands, Intro, Beginning, Art 1, and really be a student while you're in there. Yes, you're overseeing the teaching, and you can be talking to parents that come by and need information. But truly, if you are a student of your business and you ever wanted to teach in any capacity, you're going to be there anyway. So I have a lot of owners that are wanting to eventually go in, transition into the role of being a teacher, even if it was a couple days or maybe at their second location. So this is an excellent way, since you have to learn your business. You could also be taking the class. You will learn a lot. You will be surprised, even if you think you can't draw a straight line, you can learn. So that's an important piece. And then, of course, we've talked about the opportunities for birthday parties, events, field trips. This is not something where I ever view it as your huge revenue producer. Yes, you get extra money and extra income, but it's an amazing way to market to new families that are coming in. Maybe it's a student that's having a birthday party and 12 of their friends are there for the first time. So as an owner, if you're able to show up, even if it's at the end of these birthday parties, to make those connections with the families, it's a really great opportunity to do that, and then give them information about your classes, which is our main jam of what we do.
And I want to piggyback on these two slides, because like when we talk about really that semi-absentee nature of the business, you can see this isn't an 80-hour grind on a week-to-week basis or a full time. It's committing to being in the studio for, 4 hours a week. Some of these things you can do while you're there, but it's really like knowing your business and being engaged. A lot of the things on the prior slide where you do it on an annual basis or a quarterly basis and checkpoints and being engaged. And that's one of the things, again, I love about it. And then someday you build it up to like what Stephanie did out in the Beaches studio, the Ponte Vedra location, where just said she hasn't been out there in 4 months. That just still blows my mind. But she's got a great teacher in place.
Yeah, it's all about that teacher, and of course your location matters as well, but it truly does become pretty semi-absentee.
Well, and that's why if you can build one, you can build more than one, right?
Correct.
If you can successfully build a studio, this is, out of every brand I've ever launched, this is the most scalable, truly scalable businesses I've ever been involved in. And that's like Tress, who just signed for Tampa, is doing 3 studios down in Tampa market.
And if you're Connie and you have like 2 million kids within a 5-block radius, you'll do like, I was blown away by her numbers. Oh my
Right.
gosh, I had no idea how many kids are there. Jeez.
It's a lot of kiddos, a lot of kiddos. It's awesome. Any other questions on this slide before we go? We're good? Okay, so what we're looking at here is your first year in business. You won't have Art 2, Art 3, Advanced Art, because that's all, you have to have Art 1 before you go on to Art 2. So this is the core of what classes you will have. Tiny Hands, like I said, you'll have that no more than 2 times on your schedule. We try to do during the week, like 3:15 to 4 o'clock has been a really great time for these little guys. And then a Saturday morning class for Tiny Hands has been a really nice time slot as well, but no more than that. Introduction to Art, love that curriculum. And it's a very popular age group for our little artists. So we will put that on your schedule 3 to 4 different times. During the week, we try to give parents, a 4 o'clock option, a 5:15, a 6:30, and then a Saturday class as well. Again, when somebody registers, that's their class. You're not going to have one 5-year-old bouncing between all these times during the week. That's their Monday 4 o'clock, their Monday 4 o'clock. Beginning Art, also a very popular class, popular age group. So you'll see beginning on your schedule 3 to 4 different times as well during the week. Art 1 is 9 and everybody else. So Art 1, you're going to have on your schedule at least 6 times, because that's going to, provide options for the majority of all your other students. So the younger kiddos, it's all age-based. So we really, during your training, we talk to you about what we do and why the age is so important, because we want these kids to be ready for Art 1 by the time they turn 9. So if you have a mom that really is convinced that their 6-year-old should be in beginning, well, there's a reason why they're not gonna be, because they would be like way too young when they started Art 1. And we know after years and years and years of experience how old these kids need to be successful at this specific level. So I work with you again to develop your schedule, so we make sure that you have all the right offerings on there. The other activities and events, we talked about homeschool. I know, Keith, you had mentioned, and also Jason, I think you guys both have homeschooled, me as well. There's such opportunity there for the homeschool families because they're more flexible with their hours. So you could have whole classes added to this core during the day that could service, whole co-ops. That's what I was doing in COVID. It worked out really well. So I might have a Tuesday 10 a.m. co-op group, and that's their time, and they come every Tuesday at 10. And you can fill a whole class with one co-op group. That's exciting. And you can do several of these on your schedule depending on the need in your homeschool community. But the only difference with the homeschool class, guys, is that the intro, beginning, and Art 1 are taught during the same hour and 15 minutes. So for the homeschool family, it's great. They can bring their 5-year-old and their 11-year-old, and those kiddos will get the correct level of the curriculum during that same hour and 15 minutes. So they're not having to make several trips to the studio every week. And your teacher's fine, because we only still take 12 at a time. So it's not like it's going to be crazy. It's just being an octopus, and that's what we do. So we've got homeschool that's going to add to your schedule. Other things to think about too are the adult classes or the senior citizen classes. They'll just be doing Art 1. You know, they'll follow the same curriculum, but you could gear it more towards a certain age group during the day. Maybe the seniors want to come in on Wednesdays at 11 and have their Art 1 class. So there's a lot of opportunity there. My sister still has big involvement with the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts of America. She does a bunch of badges with the kids, maybe their pottery badge or painting. So that's a great opportunity there. I have Shiloh, who is one of our instructors at our Bay Meadows studio, and I'll talk about her in a minute, but she's actually testing today to get certification to offer mental health classes that involve art. And we are going to be adding that to our schedule next year. I think that's a real need as well, and something that you as an owner could look at doing as well if you have an art therapist that wanted to offer some classes once a week at your studio. There's a lot of opportunity there, and the need is definitely there too.
I have a question.
Sure, Connie.
For the last slide where you say, where you speak about adult classes and senior classes, is the furniture adjustable? Because like I saw, I saw the chairs and tables in the video, and
Our step stools. So the
So
step stools, we have used step stools for 30 plus, well, however long, it's 97. My mom chose those for a reason. They sit the kids up just a little bit higher, so they've got a little better posture when they're working at the tables in class. And then also for the little ones, it keeps them from falling out because there's a little bit of a side there, so they don't just fall out of their chair, which happens. But for your older adults, like I have some moms that take with us with their kids, and I always tell them they can go grab a chair out of the lobby because the stools sometimes hurt your back if you're not used to it.
And are the tables adjustable? Like
no, they're just 8-foot tables that are pretty standard from Costco or whatever. But I mean, I've worked with 3-year-olds all the way to adult, and haven't had a problem with the height of the table.
Okay.
But I have had people request to have a waiting room chair because of the back part of the stool getting a little uncomfortable.
I have one question as well, and I'm just really confirming it at this point, but I know when after or Art 1 and above, you need Art 1 to go on to Art 2, Art 3, and whatnot. So say you have a 9-year-old come in, do they need to take beginning art first, or they can just start at Art 1?
That's a wonderful question, Liz. I'm glad that you brought that up. So absolutely not. Though they don't have to have any prior art instruction from us to join Art 1. They just have to be at least 9.
Okay.
Yep.
So they don't have to have anything else.
No, that's great if they did, but yeah, they don't
right.
they can come right in as long as they're old enough.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Sure. This is a sample of what your schedule would look like. Again, we adjust this to who you hire, what does their schedule look like, what's their availability. If you wanted to offer a later class on your schedule, like a 7:30 to 8:45 adult class, I mean, there's variances here, guys, but this is a general snapshot of what a typical schedule would look like, a 5-day schedule. We have a 6-day-a-week schedule at Jacksonville. 5 days seems to be a really good place to start, and you can always add on to your schedule. What a great problem to have when you have waiting lists built with these kids and you need to add on and make another day. That's fantastic. So, but we want to limit the options in the beginning. Let's keep it to 5, let these classes fill up, and then grow into another day.
Yeah, sorry, Boat Friday is gone, Stephanie. And I talked about that in our pro forma session, like way back when we first met Stephanie and Barbara. And we do Monday through Thursday because we have Boat Friday. I'm like, ooh, tell me more. I like Boat Friday. and you know, we had Fridays off. But then what happened over time is we built up a big old waiting list. And so a lot of people ask, you know, how are we at 340 kids there at Bay Meadows? Is the kids who did, say, Art 1, now they're progressing into Art 2. So in year 2, we're going to be able to add more classes. And then we had a waiting list. And it's like, we're not going to say no, let's open up on Friday. and cover that. So sorry it's gone, but I love, that's another 48 kids we've got room for by opening up on Friday.
Right, right.
Do you have any students that want to take more than one session so that they can come more than one day a week?
Almost all of them, Keith, but that's not the way the curriculum's designed. It's just a once a week class. I get that all the time. The only time they would come more than once is if they need to catch up on a project. So you can't, a lot of these kids are little turtles. I call them my turtles, and they're artistic and they're wonderful, but they work at a certain speed. So if you need them to be getting closer to finishing something, then we can talk to the parent and say, hey, can they come in? Can they come in more? But everybody else, as far as the little kids, yeah, it's just once a week. Parties and special events. These are, again, awesome marketing opportunities for your business. You get a lot of new kids in. We do clay projects with the kids or painting on canvas. And I tell our owners, if they're probably 6 or less, you want to do clay, because the painting on canvas for littles, unless they're finger painting, they don't turn out that great. So we stick to clay projects for the little ones. But these are great. The clay projects, the parents have to come back to pick up the clay because it has to be fired in the kiln. So it's like a 2-week turnaround, and then you get another opportunity to make them really cute, put them in little gift bags and put your flyers in there and little tissue paper, and really just make them super cute to pass back to all the parents. And you do get new kids out of it, so it's a great thing to do. The pot that you see on the far right corner, this was because of Dennis. Dennis, I'm going to have you talk about it, because it was just a really awesome opportunity he presented to me to offer to our students. So Dennis, you want to elaborate more on the pot?
Yeah, so hopefully people recognize the picture on the right, the Brady Bunch. Anybody remember the Brady Bunch? That's the staircase. My family, we own a ranch in the Sierra foothills, and it's what we call a charity ranch. We raise money for pediatric cancer research, specifically Keaton's Child Cancer Alliance. And I'm a big mid-century modern design guy, and what I did is I put the Brady Bunch staircase. That's actually the ranch house, though. That's not the Brady Bunch staircase. And one of the things I wanted to do was replicate the vase that Bobby breaks throwing the ball down the staircase in one of the episodes. I know it's crazy, but so we did a contest with a scholarship of $250 to the child that replicated the pot the closest, and that's the winning pot sitting up at our ranch house there. So kind of a crazy story, but kind of fun too. So good stuff.
The student was
you
so
broke
proud.
Mom's favorite vase. Oh my God.
Exactly. Actually, it's Peter, I think, that throws the ball down or something. Yeah, but yeah.
It was so cool. And they love the competition part of it. And that's another thing, guys. You can really give these kids so many different opportunities in the community. If you see that, there's an art show coming to town at the library, you can submit a couple pieces. Anytime that you have knowledge that you can give these kids the opportunity to present their work, I mean, this is great experience for them. You can help them with portfolio building. There's portfolio days, a lot of great things that you can do to help these kids get where they need to go. So glad Dennis did that. That was fun.
I have a quick question about the birthday party curriculum or any event curriculum. Is it up to who defines that? Is it up to the parent that says, my daughter really loves unicorns? Can we do a unicorn canvas painting? Or my son loves this? Like how is that defined?
That's a great question, Danielle. With the parties, it's very much a theme driven thing. So we give our teachers the freedom. Let's say it's a Harry Potter birthday party and they want to build little figurines, or like you said, love unicorns or loves puppies. It's totally fine, and they can get creative and offer the project. I always have a lot of printed examples out for the kids so they can look at whatever it is. And if your teacher was ever stumped for an idea, we've got many of them, so we can always help.
Okay, so the parent basically can call and say, my 5-year-old loves X, Y, and Z. Can we design a birthday party around that? And then the teacher works within the guidelines to do so. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, exactly. It's perfect. We have how to do the party, what to do for the project as far as clay, hand building, or the painting. But then as far as the theme goes, yeah, it's really dependent on what the parent wants to do. And we market that to the parents as well.
And one other question is, in terms of going back to the parties, like I know that a lot of times people will bring pizza or cupcakes in. Who organizes that, and how does that work?
Great question as well. So
You can
basically,
tell I've been to a few.
yes, no, that's
kids'
perfect.
birthday parties.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So when we get a birthday party request, it goes right to the email because parents have to do that online on the website. So they'll say, I'm looking for March 8th for 10 kids or whatever. So the reply back is, we do an hour and a half of studio time for the party. And and that includes instruction and all supplies for up to 12 kids, and we set the price. Now, if they want to add 30 minutes to that, it's an extra XYZ. If they want to add more kids, we can add more participants, up to 20 guests. And then that's when the theme thing comes involved. Like we'll design your project around your party theme or your child's interest. Parents can arrive 30 minutes before the party starts and bring in any food, any drinks, no alcohol is permitted, any decorations, and get all of that set up. So as owners, we're responsible for getting our, making sure the teacher's available, that she's set up, that she has what she needs, but they're in charge of all the other stuff. So we
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Those are great questions, guys. Keep them coming.
Oh, and like when we look at, if we have chance today to show sort of the teacher portal, Danielle, we have examples just coming out of our ears where we have done those curriculum for parties and special events, right? If they're into superheroes, cool, here's examples. And so you don't have to create any of that from scratch. We've got this wonderful arsenal.
Great.
This is the secret sauce. This is frankly my favorite part of today's event, as Stephanie's going to jump into. Like, what is truly special and unique about children's art classes to me is our curriculum. It's what we bring in and how these kids develop with us.
It's all about the curriculum, and it's been tried and true over the last 20 plus years. Like I mentioned before, thousands of students have achieved success through this program, and the difference maker is the expectation level. And that's why it's so important, like as a franchisor, to hold our owners at this expectation. The owners hold their teachers at that expectation, and then the teachers hold their students. And those kids rise to the expectation that is set before them. So the curriculum is really important that we have it delivered and followed by our teachers that are in the studios. We realized early on that this is going to take an art educator, that we can't just expect anybody without this kind of background to deliver the curriculum the way it needs to be, and to be able to manage a classroom at the expectation level that we need. This is not a free-for-all. This is not a daycare setting. This is classical music. This is school. And these kids thrive in that environment. So that's the difference maker, and I want to be involved with that process with you guys, because I understand, as teaching this curriculum for 15 years myself, I know what it takes to be successful and get the results from these kids. That's going to in turn make your business flourish, because it's all about those results. We continue to improve as we go through. I love the fact that we have summer workshops on there, because a lot of good ideas get presented to me, and I'm able to add to our program in that way with different summer workshop ideas. But the core of why we're successful is the after school program. So that is our main focus, and we want to make sure that these kids are producing at the level we expect. I have a lot of eyes on what's coming out of the studio. I want to see those pictures from your teachers. This is my version of quality control for you guys. So even if you don't have that strong art background, that's okay. I know what it's supposed to come out and look like, and I'll help your teachers do better if they need to. It's not a shame on you. It's a, how can we make this look better? What do we need to do? So that's an important part of this. The self-esteem is so amazing to watch grow. And we do that with having these kids stand up. We do class critiques. These kids are involved. It's not optional. This is part of what we do. And these kids get so good at it, and they're so proud of themselves when they can speak so well in front of their peers. And I think that's a life skill beyond art that we give to these kids that's going to help them in their real life situation. We do bring in people to help our students with building their portfolios if they really want to go on to college and get scholarships. We had 3 students get scholarships last year, 2 of which went to SCAD. So this is a very real opportunity for our students. And we are in the process of, I don't think I told you guys, Dennis and Sean, but we're making a beautiful poster for our Jacksonville studio to put in the waiting room, just to show the United States and all the new studios coming, and let these parents know that this is a very real opportunity for the kid one day. If they want to be a teacher, if they want to be a business owner, this can go full circle. And we want to make that a very big reality to the families, because, you know, they're investing in their kid and they can put it towards something instead of hearing, art's just a hobby. Go get a real degree. That's what I was told by my dad.
Stephanie, explain what SCADS is. I don't think everybody knows.
Savannah College of Art and Design. It's like the premier art school, one of the premier art schools in the country. And we are not too far from Savannah, where we are in Jacksonville. So we've been really just excited for a bunch of our students that have been able to go on to Savannah and go to SCAD. This is Grace Penley, my little student Grace, standing by her Snoopy when she was 7. And I went and attended her high school graduation last summer. And that's her in her dorm room at SCAD. And she's doing incredible. She's doing incredibly. She's going to be an architect. That's always been her goal. And she will get there. She's amazing. So you can make a difference with these kids and give them the understanding that we believe in them, and they know that they can go on and do great things.
Yeah, so now that we're open in Connecticut and opening up in New York, et cetera, then we'll start feeding RISD, Rhode Island School of Design.
Right.
It's really, those are the 2 best in the country. So I'm blown away by.
I think Monica went there. Did. I think Monica went there for college. Dolsky.
I still learn new things about our owners.
Well, another thing, I don't know if everybody's aware, but we're actually going to be opening, looks like hopefully mid-April to late April, on the Upper West Side of New York City. And really excited about that. That's going to be some massive national branding. So,
oh my gosh, yeah. Beautiful studio. I'm pumped for Sue. That's great. So the curriculum, Art 1, is where it really starts to get real for our kids, which is why we want them to be at least 9. We've tried it with 8-year-olds. We had some frustrated 8-year-olds, so they're really in a great place at being 9 years old to do these projects and have that level of success. Art 1 Ebony Pencil, this is just kind of an overview of one of the projects in Art 1. So we focus on value, getting kids to understand what that means and how to do a grid drawing. So the kids are learning so much in this first project. It takes them 8 to 9 weeks to get all the way through the ebony pencil drawing, and we celebrate them. We give ribbons. I mean, it's really a big deal when these kids finish their piece, and they're so proud. We always ask them, did you ever think you could do a drawing like this? No way. And they all have success with this project. So I don't know if we skipped over the box by box thing, Sean. Maybe not. Here we go. So in the curriculum, there is the hard copy curriculum, which stays in your studio. It's not allowed to leave the studio. But then also on the teacher training portal, I have digital copies that can't be printed, but it's helpful for the teachers to be able, once they're hired on, to start to digest the curriculum and learn the projects and kind of look ahead. It's step by step as far as lesson by lesson of what the kids are doing. And this is showing you the grid where they work box by box with just regular drawing pencil. And then they come in box by box with the ebony pencil and add the value. And they are just, this is what got me when I was in college and I was watching what my mom was doing in New Mexico with her little kids. I couldn't even believe that this was happening at a 9-year-old's. By the time they get to Art 3, we consider them, old, and they're like 11. But these kids get to do gouache, which, that's a very beautiful pigment. It's an opaque watercolor. Typically, people don't get their hands on it until they're in college. But this whole curriculum is like college and high school. Like kids don't know, but it is. So in gouache, now they're zipping through those grid drawings. I mean, that's no big deal. They do a whole grid drawing in a class. And then the painting part looks unbelievable because of the foundation that's been built. They understand color theory. They understand how to mix color and use it with tints and shades. So the results are stunning. Where are they? I want to show you those. So in the lesson, they have already been taught color theory at the end of Art 1. Art 2 really drills in a lot of color. They do a lot of color projects. So Art 3, this is the level that we expect at Art 3. And yes, they are 11 and 12 years old, the majority of the Art 3 kids. I mean, but if you really stare at that wine glass and you really stare at the bottle, it's just shapes. And these kids know how to see. We teach them how to see. So they're able to see those shapes and draw what they're looking at. You just never see the same once you're taught how to see. And so it's just a bunch of shapes that they've drawn, and they can identify what colors and mix the colors correctly because they know how. And yeah, that car is in my son's room. I had to have her make me a print of it. I just was obsessed. But they're beautiful results. And we make them pick something shiny because the shiny things look really good with gouache. And those 3 hands down below, that's Shiloh's painting. Shiloh was my student. We'll talk about her, but this is her. It's perfect. Sean does such a great job with this. I always make him direct the whole presentation because I hate clicking and messing things up. But Shiloh was little. She was 8 when she started at children's art classes, and she stayed with me all the way till she graduated, and she went on to SCAD. And then it was COVID, and I called her mom and said, how's she doing? And she said she's working remotely from home in Jacksonville, which is not the SCAD experience that she imagined having. But this little girl always wanted to be a teacher, always, since she was little. And so I told her, Mom, how about Shiloh come and shadow and learn how to do the teaching side of it? Because she had 10 years of the curriculum. And so now Shiloh is in her 3rd year of teaching. She's going to be replacing me next year as a full-time teacher, which is just emotional. So she's doing great things.
Oh, wow. She's awesome. And Stephanie, on that note, you know, as you talked about Shiloh, and you talked about, you know, sharing that, you know, I hit sort of like that our theory of our plan with Art for Life, and this is something we extend to all of our studios, all of our owners around the country.
It's real. I choked up, guys, because I'm for the first year not teaching next year, and it just hit me. Sorry.
But you know, those kids are in great hands.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
Yeah. So
Well,
this really is.
Connie said it earlier about community and communal, and that's what this brand really is. I mean, it truly roots itself. And the benefit of that is obvious the children, but the benefit to you is you get a beautiful thing in business, which is called organic growth. You can market, you can advertise, spend money and apply effort to grow your business, but you can't fake or buy goodwill in a marketplace. It's always the one you have to establish, root the business, and then that beautiful organic growth comes. And that's what's happened with these, it's happening with all of our locations. So
yeah, it's truly incredible. Yeah, and we're in the process of training 2 other students that we had that went on and got their art education degrees. And one of them is going to be replacing my mother, who's 71. She says it's going to happen next year, but she'll be teaching in the studio forever. But yeah, we're in the process of training 2 more students. Who better to teach at these studios, you know, than the kids that have had the whole program. So yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, franchise model. Let's go into detail on this. We work very closely with you to open. I never want any of our owners to feel like, oh yeah, now you're on the team and see you later. You know, I'll come out to the studio and train your teachers. No, we walk you through what you need to be doing, you know, when you first come on and establishing your business and getting your legal entity. We start getting recruiting out there for your first teacher right away. I think that's really important to find the right person. Again, location and teacher. So we want to hire on early and let that teacher begin training before you even have a studio open. They can be learning, they can be looking at lesson plans. Site selection starts also right away. So those things kick off almost immediately. And then we get you here in Jacksonville. We just had two weekends back to back training 5 new owners this past 2 weeks. And it's just so much fun, you know. We learn about how to talk on the phone. We do scripts because you might not know the whole, you know, layout of the classes, but we're going to teach you how to connect with these parents and make sure that they know that you're talking about their specific kid. All of that goes into your business training, and it's all very important with what we do. So we have that in Jacksonville, and we're working with a team of national real estate agents. So you will have help with your site selection. Making sure that we get you the best possible spot is so important. You don't want to do that without representation. And Gary and his team have been great. This is very helpful for you as a tenant to go in and have somebody in your corner when it comes to lease negotiation. You're going to be in that lease for a long time. So we want the terms to be, you know, really good. So, and it doesn't cost you anything. The landlord pays this person's commission. So it's just an added layer of support that you get as an owner. The marketing materials, when we decided to go into this and Dennis took us on as a brand, we wanted to make sure that the messaging was there. I'm very proud of the messaging that we have in place for our business. I think that it really captures the audience and shows them what we're all about. This is more than crafties. This is something that can really benefit the child in their life. And we have all of that marketing material ready for you to use. Plus we have a brand kit. So if you're a creative, you can develop your own and share with all the owners. I use owners' collateral all the time. That looks better than mine. The prep for the studio, again, this is a very small construction job. I mean, almost handyman job. So the painting, the shelving, all of that stuff is going to happen kind of quickly once you get a lease. If there's any permits involved, there's not typically too many permits, but you don't want that to be your focus. As soon as you have an address, yeah, that stuff's going to get done. Let's focus on the marketing. Let's get butts into seats. So it's all about that connection right off the bat. As soon as we have an address, that's what we focus on until you open the doors. And depending on what you want to do with what we tell you works, you can very much open the doors with 100 kids. That's a real possibility. I did it with no website. But there is no shortcut. There's no elevator to the top. You have to take the stairs. So it's what you are willing to do with what works. And I want to help you do that with your marketing. It's a quick period, really. It's like 8 weeks before you go from having a lease to opening. It's a quick period. So that's when we go as hard as we can to get as many people in your area to know that we're coming. It's just a numbers game. So we want to have a lot of numbers. Site selection, Sean, would you want to take this one?
I'd be happy to. Yeah,
you.
we'll give you a little rest as you're recuperating. So I know I've talked to, I think all of you doing that pro forma session, but really key thing that we bring is experience in helping and find and build out a number of sites, and B, we have a national real estate team who has boots on the ground in every market around the country. So it's not just say Gary who leads that, he's up in Oregon, but he's got local agents in literally every market around the country. What we're looking for is really 12 to 1,600 square feet. And in that 1,200, like we were talking about, Keith, you know, in your market, Naples might be the ideal place, right? 1,100, 1,200. As we go up to 1,600, as Stephanie was alluding to, it enables us to run concurrent classes. I'll show you a sample diagram and floor plan in just a moment. And so you can envision, okay, rather than having to outgrow, like Stephanie did way back in early Jacksonville days and have to go get another lease, we can start doing concurrent classes in our main studio and in our playroom. When I say B-type real estate, we're not in that highfalutin like Gucci shopping center, right? There's no Prada in this center, but it's where people are going, and ideally right? Co-locating in centers with other businesses that are targeting our same clientele. Our mathnasiums, our kumons, taekwondo studios, ice cream parlors, where are people already bringing their kiddos? So, because we'll actually co-market with them. We'll put our trifolds and brochures in their lobby and theirs in ours, because we're not poaching one another's members. It might be the same kid that is like struggling with math. They might be great with art. So that's a great sort of co-market with mathnasium, or a different kid in the same family. Great, let's do this. And then we also dive in on like visibility and traffic count. All of these are lessons learned, right? One of our studios years ago in Bay Meadows, it was like hitting off in this back area. I remember that studio, Stephanie, is like a little tiny business park. And then we moved and had way better visibility. We have signage on the pilar out front, and you know, that helped light us up. And certainly, frankly, post-COVID helped light us up. As I openly share, people realize that, you know, our kids are social animals. They got to be out there. They've got to be off the screen and get engaged. So we go super deep on this. And what we do is really try to identify 3 to 5 good locations, and then narrow it down, get letters of intent on those, and then really do that sort of showcase showdown, right? Who's giving me the best lease terms, best rent, any tenant improvement dollars I might need, et cetera. And our real estate team helps with that lease negotiation. We have rent abatement for at least 3 months, sometimes 6 months, so we're not paying that rent up front. And even in crazy Midtown Manhattan, that's our most expensive rent across the country, but we're also pricing our students and, you know, what's that monthly payment accordingly for the market, so that site selection and what we're paying for rent does dovetail into what we're typically charging. And again, as I mentioned, we don't compete with them, but we like being located near those other organizations that are targeting our same kiddos. I've shared this is that sample, and then when I'm on the phone with Connie and I fall out of my chair as I comparing, again, it was like, how many kids were there, Connie? I mean, it was over 100,000.
It was like 159,000 in the Oak Park area.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it was like 100 and some change in Norridge. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So not everybody's like that. Keith, like when we looked at yours, you don't have anything like hers. But that's, again, why we look at that smaller studio, right? Connie's going to have to just like, all right, cool, I'm opening studio 1 and then 2 and 3. And really across the board, everybody's got great demos. When you think about it, is our Bay Meadows studio, I'll pause on this. When Dennis and I first met Barbara and Stephanie, I thought something like children's art classes might be targeted to my more affluent communities, and, you know, people with more disposable income, higher earners, et cetera. And then I ran the demos, and I see that, in fact, in Ponte Vedra Beach, it is a more affluent, older community, and fewer kids. I have a higher percentage of their kids are enrolled at CAC. But when we look at my median household income here in Bay Meadows, it's a blue-collar working-class community, and it's not affluent, right? My median household income is only about $70K. And so that was really, frankly, inspirational to me, as I'm like, wow, okay, this can work really coast to coast in pretty much every community around the country. So as Stephanie shared earlier, we help you design and optimize your space. So we take it from, okay, what's this square footage, floor plan, layout, and really from the landlord, I really just want an accessible restroom, and I want 240 for my kiln, and the rest is super easy. And you can see we've got that waiting room in this parallels Stephanie's tour, and then we've got our main studio, then we've got our clay room, and then that cleanup room in the back. As I was alluding to, when we're getting closer to that 1,600 square foot space, this one's about 1,200, it enables us to expand the size of the clay studio so I can run concurrent classes. I can run, you know, say an art one up front and an intro out back, or vice versa. So that enables us to grow our class count, our student count, etc., without having to go into new space. Oops. And then we like doing, not all of us can go 2D to 3D and visualize it. So we like helping render that dollhouse view to say, hey, let's go do a virtual tour before we start building. And so you guys can envision what your studio is going to look like. So I'll hand it back to you for training and support. Any questions on site selection and layout, et cetera, before we jump into training and support?
I have a really random and specific question. So, Sean, when we were talking, I don't know if you remember, but there was literally a space released right next to a mathnasium in a perfect location.
I told you, let's go, let's sprint.
I
But go ahead, Liz.
I know. So it's still available, but it's like it's an awkward shaped space. Like it kind of comes to I don't know, it almost seems like a triangle type, like the way it's split up. There's like some weird angles and things like that. Now, is that something that you guys are looking at? Like, that's unused space.
We have to look at it. Like Sioux space in Manhattan is really weird. And so what's great is frankly, even at this early juncture, we're happy to send the floor plan so that, Stephanie, and really, that's one of Barbara's super secret skills. It's a great skill where she can visualize it and say, okay, here's where this would go, here's where that would go. We've had some that were like, no, that's not going to work. But yeah, get the floor plan and shoot it over.
That would be really helpful, Liz. We can just look at it and see, because ours was kind of funky too at the space that we were hidden that Sean was mentioning. That was a funky space. So just depends.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely grab it.
And funky. Gosh.
It's definitely an interesting space. So, thank you.
Sure. So what does the training and support look like? Well, like I mentioned before, right away, I mean, within 30 to 45 days, we want you in Jacksonville for that 2-day training. There's just a lot to cover. And I feel like because the marketing starts so early, we want you comfortable on the phone and answering emails so you can help direct these parents into registering into the right class. So that's a big piece of the training early on, and really getting you comfortable with each level of the curriculum and what we do. The instructor training is done at your location. So when the studio is ready, when the bins are full of supplies and labels and color wheels on the wall, we come out to your space. Sometimes we can time it right where we can be there for one of your open houses as well, which is great when that works out. But that's an important part of it too. But a step further, and I was talking to Dennis and Sean about this, I believe that it's so important that these teachers know what this looks like and know what it feels like in the studio with the kids coming and going, the flow, what we do, how we're teaching, the environment itself. You can't replicate that in a brand new studio when you're about to open. But you can have your teachers come to us. And I feel like, yes, it's an investment into their travel and whatnot, but considering that the teacher is the face of this entire business that you're going to be opening, it would give them a leg up in so many different ways. So I want to just put that out there because I really have thought long and hard about this, and I feel like it would be invaluable to the new teacher coming on board and being on the CAC team, just to have that feel. And I hear it from our new owners coming in. They're like, God, it's just so different when you're in the studio, because our owners are coming in Saturdays watching classes being taught the first part of the day, and then we kick off training in the afternoon. And it's just a totally different vibe and feel when you're in it and it's in operation and seeing the kids and what the teachers are doing. So anyhow, monthly teacher trainings we mentioned earlier, those are important for the teachers. They have to come prepared to these trainings. I need to see pictures of the work going out, because that's ultimately the marketing of your studio, is what's walking out the door. And we have the kids walking out with their artwork right underneath their chin. And they have all, the whole parking lot sees all these kids coming out of the studio with their artwork. The monthly owners meetings you have to attend, those are so great. I love that we collaborate together as a team. The coaching with me, once you have your space, we meet weekly. So now it's go time, right? Without that address, there's tasks that we can be doing and checking off the list. But once the lease is signed, it's go time. So you and I are meeting once a week. We're going through what you need to be doing, making sure that your marketing's intact, that your signage is going up, all of those tasks that kind of happen all together. I'm there for you. You're not going to be by yourself. Okay, so we're meeting once a week. And then after you open, I'm still meeting with a few of our owners that opened in October, and we're down to like bi-weekly calls, and I'm there. I want to support you guys. So I'm not going to fall off just because you're open now. So I think a lot of that support is going on after that you're open, and you might be running into questions. So I want to be there and hear about it. Communication is everything. So I don't know what you don't know unless you tell me. I'm very proud of the training portal. For me as a teacher, I think that this is just added support, and it's kind of what I always envisioned for CAC when we were going to go into be a franchise model. I wanted this to exist. My son's been homeschooled for a long time with Abeka, and they got it down where the instruction is on video. There's added resources and support for the families at home that are helping with the homeschool. And I look at this like this is our growing library. I'm doing a lot of work getting it, I don't know what that is, getting it where the teachers have access to this right away. And so do you as owners. So they can go into Ebony Pencil, Sean, if you would please. So you can click on Ebony, and the lessons that we have video and recorded that the teachers need to watch and familiarize, that's there on the Ebony, and then all of the examples. And I think that having these examples for kids to see even is really important. So the teacher can print out and use these as needed. They're just amazing. These always just blow me away. And same thing, I know. It's just lights and darks, learning how to do value, looking for shapes. And this is what they get. So that's there for you guys on intro and beginning. And again, as our teachers out there, our CAC instructors are sending me photos, now I can add pictures that are not just local. It's so cool to have, Marie's pictures in Indianapolis or Indiana on part of this training portal, and Sarasota's are on here, and it's just great. So this is going to continue to grow. Resources for our teachers are continuing to grow, and we're visual people, so I think they need to see this is some advanced stuff. A lot of great things on the teacher training portal.
New stuff goes up there all the time, so I couldn't help it as soon as I started seeing new stuff.
Yeah, I've got years and years and years of photos, but now more with our owners. So hiring is so important. That minimum of 5 years teaching experience, sorry, I'm chewing on my cough drop, is everything. We don't care if the teacher's an artist. That doesn't matter. How are they with the teaching part? That's what we want to know, is how are they with their communication skills? Do they like to teach? Do they like kids? Are they a slob? We can't have any slobs. People are walking by your studio. You don't even know how many people come in every day to get information about the classes for their kids. And our studios look good. It's important to not have stuff everywhere. And with an art school, I mean, it could go sideways quickly. So that organizational piece of this human that we're looking for your studio is really important. So I want to be involved in these interviews, guys. I can't tell you who to hire, but I could tell you who I wouldn't hire. And I think that that's going to be ultimately a piece of making your business run and go smoothly and have that great reputation in your community, is about the teacher. Questions about the hiring or anything like that before we keep going? Okay. So Art 4 We're actually recording training on that this summer, which is it's the first time since we've launched as a franchise that we haven't had owners in the studio doing hands-on training, that we've had videoed for extra support. But when your students get to be Art 4, Art 5, Art 6, this is very much an individual journey now for that student. They have had all the tools in their belt. They know the fundamentals of how to be successful in each project that they're doing. So now it's about what they want to do. And as teachers, we're facilitating that growth by giving them those resources. We've had students that wanted to go into fabrication. We've had students that wanted to learn how to do airbrushing. At this point, you know, they've been paying art supply fees for a long time, and you don't usually buy them much more than a few sheets of paper and some pencils. So if our student needs a certain supply to learn and, you know, a new skill, we're going to do that for them. And the teacher doesn't have to know what it is either. They can learn with the student on how to do it. A lot of trial and error going on, but that's Art 4 and up. So we're going to be recording a training. Really, it's going to be describing how to help these kids at that level as instructors and what we do and how they work on an independent contract. Special events and promotions. We do a lot of holiday themed workshops as owners. Again, it's all about your instructors' availability. If you want to add, you know, if you want to do a Santa workshop or a Valentine's Day clay class or any of that, we've got a curriculum written on these specific special events that you can offer at your studio. It's all about, you know, who's available to do it. And I think, again, you get new faces into the studio that you might not have had when you do these one-off workshops.
I have a quick question on that. So in the event, let's say that your primary teacher isn't available, and let's even say that your secondary teacher isn't available, are you able to train, like, I don't want to say part-time, but like substitute teachers or workshop only teachers or something like that? Is it possible? Okay.
Absolutely, Danielle. I think that's a great question, because as of late, when I'm helping our new owners find their teachers, we are keeping that in mind, because I think also if you're finding and seeking out a specific, just a substitute teacher, knowing that this substitute can do these things is an added incentive for them to come on board.
Great.
So,
Thank
yeah.
you.
And one quick note on the substitute teacher, you want that person to also have credentials. I was in a situation where I lost my lead teacher for 2 months. Her kid had a health concern. And I luckily was able to fill in for her myself. And I had a substitute teacher who was a retired art teacher that, gosh, she saved my butt. She was in there for like 6 of the weeks. So that being said, when you have a substitute, we can train them during your teacher training, just like we would train you and your teachers. But they need credentials too, because this is your business and you can't have it fall apart if, God forbid, something happens to your main teacher. We've still got to have somebody who can deliver the curriculum and knows how to teach. The monthly business operations, really most of the accounting for tuitions and scheduling and messaging to parents is all done under the same platform, Sawyer Tools. And that's what we use. And they're one of the best in the industry for kid-focused businesses. So everything that is incorporated into the software is really for owners like us doing kid activity businesses. So it's very easy to use. I am not one who loves technology, as anyone who knows me understands that, but I can run my business from my phone. So that's pretty awesome that you can be that mobile and create coupon codes and schedules, and you can really do it all from your cell phone. So that's handy. Market introduction plan. How are we doing so far? Anybody need questions to ask or anything like that? Okay. The keys to success. There really is this, you know, a key. Not everybody wants to do that part of it, but you know, this is such a kid-focused business and very community-based. So we have a program in place that is designed to help you launch with at least 100 kids. After you're open, the marketing looks a lot different. It's very much numbers in the beginning before you open your doors. But once you're open, it's very much a referral business. You've got parents that are thrilled with what their kids are doing, and parents talk to each other. And then you'll have schools referring your program to families as well. We have tons of teachers that are promoting us as a place for families to take their kids if they're struggling with their grades or attention, or if just they love art. So you're going to be referred a lot after you're open. But the early part, the early key, when nobody knows about you and you're new to the community, is how can we get the word out? So we do that in a variety of ways. Of course, now we have Google My Business and Facebook, and our beautiful website, which is very easy to navigate and directs people right to where they can sign up for the classes. You have that website page right away with even a coming soon, so we can start to gather these parents that are interested in your classes, and build an audience so we can message them once everything is published. But the community engagement piece, this is something that you want to do early. This is not something that you have to continue to do as a business owner, but early on, if you can contact the schools, become partners in education, do a community project with their kids. These are our people. These are our customers. They're the kids that are in the elementary schools and the middle schools. This piece is really a big part of your training. Is how do we do that? How do we get into the schools, especially now that they're zipped up tighter than ever with just the climate of our world and security and all of that. But there are ways. So we don't look for who's not going to do it with us, who's not going to take our flyers or not participate. We don't care. We just want to keep going until we know that this much of our flyers or our digital stuff is out there. Okay, so that part we really spend a long time on in your training, and we do different things to get the school engaged and excited about what we're doing. This, I know it kind of feels like it's salesy, but if you really think about what you're providing, I feel like Santa Claus. Like we go in there with scholarships for these schools to award to a student. In turn, take my flyers. I don't just take the scholarship, take my flyers. It's good. It's really hard to say no to $1,200 for a student that's deserving that can't afford it. So it's kind of like there's different ways to approach these schools to get what you want and still be feeling good about what you're giving to the school. So
well, and I think that you also bring that portfolio of the art and share that so that they say like, wow, okay, you're not just like fun with crayons or colored pencils, but we are developing this.
We provide each one of our new owners with what Sean just mentioned. It's an 8.5 by 11 glossy photo book that shows students from tiny hands, intro, beginning, art 1, all the way up that you guys use. You'll use that book so much. This is a gift that you get as a new owner because we know how much we use that book at community events, at the schools, in the studio. When you have a teacher teaching and somebody comes in for information, how old's your kid? 8? Flip to beginning. This is what they're going to get to do. People don't read, they see. So having those pictures and those visual examples helps the school understand that you're not painting with a twist. You're not abracadabra. Like this is what we do, and it's better appreciated and understood that way. Having that helpful book. Okay, this is really the whole progression of what happens, guys. If you decide that this is a good fit and this is a happy marriage, like Sean or Dennis mentioned earlier in this presentation, you're never going to feel pressure from us. I think that it has to work from both sides because we're going to work closely together. But it's a relatively quick progression. Once you come on as an owner, we get that website page launched right away saying coming soon, that even if it's broad and we don't know exactly where you're going to be, that's okay. But once we have that lease signed, that's when we're going fast and hard. We're going to the schools. We're looking at what we can use for marketing research resources in your specific area. Maybe you have Peach Jar available, which is great. It's digital marketing to schools. Maybe there's certain mom and dad websites. Most cities have them where parents go to find extracurricular activities or summer camps and things like that. Those are the places where we want to be marketing, and we're going to just do them all in the beginning. You no hold back. Let's go as hard as we can with the marketing effort. Are you going to keep it at that level? No. But in the beginning, we want to find out what's working. We track, how did you hear about us? Where are you getting those people? So we can refine that so you're spending your marketing dollars in the right way. We get Google My Business deployed. That's been a really wonderful thing for all of our owners, and basically free unless you want to boost your ad. Facebook as well has been really helpful with a lot of our new owners. Those printed flyers though, guys, I know they're old school, but those are important to have too, even if you're grocery shopping and you see somebody with kids. I mean, I always have, to this day, I always have flyers with me. And school events, especially depending on the timing of when you are going to open. So we look at what's relevant. Maybe you're going to have the timing that's perfect before school. That's great. If not, it's okay. There's other things that we can participate in. Maybe they're homeschool expos or summer activities or stuff at the library. We want to be involved in community events in the beginning. So more to spread the word. And then having the open houses, of course, before you open those doors for the first time. We teach you how to do those and how those are effective for you too.
And speaking of those, here's some examples.
Yes, so we use Canva. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Canva. I love Canva. It's easy to use. You can generate QR codes. All of these things are ready for you guys to plug in your information and have printed locally. But again, there's a brand kit with the guidelines of the fonts and the different styles of logos and tons of kid pictures, so you can create your own. But we have ready to use social media posts, MailChimp mail banners for email blasts, big posters so you could put them in your studio windows while you're under construction, flyers, trifolds, business cards, certificates for those scholarships that I talked about to give to the schools. All of that's ready for you guys. We do have Scott, he's head of Lighthouse Marketing, so he helps with monthly SEO reports when you're open, but he's also going to be helping you set up your Facebook and your website and things like that. He actually gets pretty good prices on a lot of our flyers. I've had a lot of owners use his resources because he gets some good deals, but you don't have to use his resources either. You can have them locally printed. So yeah, I just love our colors. The feel of it, the messaging, I think is just really resonates with parents. It's working.
I have to say, just from the lens of a customer or a parent myself, that's one of the things that drew me to children's art classes, is that it's like the whole brand around it and the feel. And you go to the website and it's very inviting and it's easy to navigate. And just, again, aside from this conversation, that's just one of the things that definitely drew me to it, and one of the things that I would be drawn to if I were signing my child up.
Oh, I love hearing that. That's
Yeah.
so great. That's so important as a mom to have that ease of use. That's huge. So thanks for that feedback. I appreciate it. This Bobcat that we're looking at, this was a project that I took on with one of the schools I partnered with early on when I was opening our studio out at the beach. I targeted this elementary school because there's like 1,200 kids. So I was like, all right, this is a good school to get in with. That's a ton of families. And instead of paying for a school partnership, which you can do, not all schools have that available. Some schools will just distribute your stuff, and that's great too. But this particular school, you could become a partner in education, and you could buy your way in with a set amount of money for the year, which is one of the best ways to spend your marketing dollars, if you ask me. But this school also did a partnership in kind where I was able to provide a project to a big chunk of their student body. And the project was done at my studio, which was great. Everybody was coming in, seeing where my business was. And every family for this particular project, this is a 14 by 14 foot mural that's now installed in the school's cafeteria with my plaque with children's art classes. But the families were working on just their own square. So everybody got a square of wood, and their square would say green or blue with white or whatever with yellow. And the mission was they had to cover their board with whatever color with textured items. So maybe it was feathers, or maybe it was cotton balls or whatever. That was their job. They had no idea what it was going to look like when it was done. So when it was installed, all those squares were numbered, so we knew exactly where they needed to go, and it formed their mascot, which was the Bobcat. So really cool project. It was a big undertaking, but I'm still partners with this school 6 years later, because tons of families, and I'm invited to like the fall festivals and back to school events and things like that, where I don't personally go, but my teacher does. She's my face out there. She goes, she does projects at the table. She has all the brochures and stuff, and the photo book, of course, goes with her so she can talk to the families. And these kind of things really put a stamp of, that you're there, that this is something that the kids now have as an opportunity. So if you're able to do something like this, maybe not to this size, it was a very big project, but it was worthwhile.
But this thing blows me away, and I love it. And I always encourage people, if you think about it, 14 by 14, and each kid got an individual 12-inch square. So there's 196 kids came to our studio and were introduced to build this project. And now to this day, it's in their multi-purpose room, right, where the kids eat lunch every day, where they do their dances and their theater projects and all that stuff. So, and right under it, I wish someday we'll get that picture of, presented in collaboration with children's art classes. So it's advertising that's there 6 years later. And the kids all came to experience CAC to create that.
Pictures of some of our new owners. Top left is Robert and Emily Peters. They're in Massachusetts. They're there with their teachers, Carolyn and Paula, and they're great people and their family. They've got a big family, and that was at one of their, I think, open houses, but it looks like the little girl in front was presented with a scholarship. So I think that they also incorporated that like they were presenting her the scholarship, I think, at the open house, if I remember right. Down below is Montessa, her husband and her daughter at their ribbon cutting ceremony down in Sarasota, opening their studio. And then Josemary is on the right. Josemary was my teacher, guys, in my Beaches studio for 5 years. Best art teacher ever, love her to death. And she and her husband moved to South Carolina, to Greenville, and she wanted to open her own studio. So she became a franchisee, and they opened in June, and she's killing it. She's doing amazing. And that's her at an event like I was talking about, where you can do projects with the kids and pass out your literature, and just such a nice team of people, all sharing the same values and goals for the community. It's awesome. We talked about resources for marketing. So we need to identify what is in your area. We here have Jacks for Kids. It's actually a newspaper that's distributed to all the parents at all the schools. It's like awesome. We've been using them for years and years and years. So the kids actually have to take a Jacks for Kids copy home in their backpack, and inside you as an owner can advertise. So we always do like a half page ad or a full page ad, depending on if we're promoting summer or back to school. And they also have a digital site. So it's printed and digital. But this has been an amazing thing for our business. And this is really our tried and true method that we use ongoing for monthly marketing. We always keep Jacks for Kids alive. We might add to it depending on the time of year. We might do other things, but you'll find one as well. You're going to see what's bringing in the most kids and get comfortable in using that same thing over and over again, is typically what happens. So that's just one piece in the beginning of what we can do.
And you see, like Josemary, you just mentioned her.
Kaboom
is their local publication, and and then she just opened last year and already voted the best art program in Greenville. So, and getting engaged with those, and then as you see on the next, I'll show a couple of the slides, but like these events, they're always looking to tell us as parents what's coming up, what's going on in my community, and those are usually free listings. So this is just a call out of the fall. And Stephanie, I didn't mean to step on you there. These are other examples of print collateral, quarter page ads, half page ads, as Stephanie mentioned, is depending on the time of year. We might run a big, that half pager for fall classes, but we're always have at least a quarter pager in that Jacks for Kids.
Yeah.
And all of your communities have one of those or more of those. If you think about when you go into probably the ice cream place, and you look over and there's a little rack and it's targeting Parent Magazine or Sacramento Kids up in my area, etc. So we work with you to identify who is that big group. what's their reach, how engaged are they with the schools, and that's the print side. So my biggest message is, first and foremost, community engagement, where we see people who are really successful and light it up. They do the school partnerships, they're involved in their community. The print is also important and the online is important, but number one, it's not if you build it, they will come. It's do your heavy lifting and light it up early, get involved in the community, get involved in the schools. And as Stephanie has told us time and time again, that's, as an owner, your heaviest lift in the launch of CAC. Once you have that base, then it's organic. Then they tell friends and family, and it continues to grow from there.
Well, Liz has her first customer already right there.
I know, he's adorable.
Thanks. He's very talkative though right now.
He's so cute.
Say hi.
Hi, baby.
Say hi. Say hi.
He's adorable. Well, any questions that you guys have, let's open it up. You're just a great group. I'm sorry I'm sniffing and snorting, but I'm really glad that we were able to come together today and do this presentation. But happy to hear from you guys and answer questions that you have, if you have any.
So will the recording of this be available for us to show family members?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I will. And Keith, yeah, you sort of I still want to do Q&A and give you all the time, but real quick next steps. I'm going to post the recording and email it to you guys individually so you can watch it offline, share it with friends and family, and then we'll also coordinate individual next steps, whether it's doing that deeper dive review of the FDD and agreement and stuff with Dennis, doing validation calls. Highly recommend, right? Reach out and talk to our team, learn what their experience has been. What's a day, week, month in the life of owning a children's art class of studios. And always, we're here to support you. I openly say, it's Murphy's Law. We'll hang up with this and you'll have 2 questions. Cool, ping me. And if I don't know the answer, we'll connect you with Stephanie. And she's always an open door, here to help you in this part of your process. And obviously, as she shared, tons and tons more as part of your launch, and et cetera. Liz, what's his name? He is energetic this morning.
This is Ezra.
Oh, hi, Ezra.
Say hi.
He's like, it's loud.
Say hi.
He stole the show. We all started looking at him instead of the presentation. So
I'm so sorry.
it's fine. He's cutie.
It's adorable.
It's what we're about. It's what we're about.
Mm-hmm. Arup, did you have a question?
Nope, it was the same one. So I just wanted to see if you would share that so I could share it to Krista as well.
Perfect. Yep, Sean will get those out to you guys. And I think everybody has my contact too. So happy to help with any additional questions along the way. This is what I do. So just let me know.
She is super tough. Like Stephanie at children'sartclasses.com. Got to say, the name and the URL are pretty good. You know what we do.
Right. Well, thank you guys
Well, thanks,
so much
everybody.
for being with us.
Go ahead.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.